Welcome to the LumiCast, your premier gateway to the universe of limitless photo editing. Dive into the galaxy of Luminar software and the dynamic world of AI photo editing. Join us weekly for a burst of creativity and the drive to transform your photos with confidence and skill. Broadcasting directly from Clever Photographer headquarters, it's time to welcome your hosts, Jakub and Holly Linton.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of LumiCast. We are back with another amazing topic. Here it's me, Jakub Bors, and on the side is my great friend and great photographer, Holly Linton. Hello, Holly.
Hi, Jakub. Glad to be here as always.
Yes, we are back with more photography fun. By the way, Holly, what are we going to talk about today?
Today we're going to talk about all of the accessories and gear that we use in our photography, whether it's things that we throw into our camera bag when we go out on a shoot, or maybe just some other accessories that we like to use, maybe during a setup inside. We'll talk about different things like that.
How exciting. I'm very much into camera gear and accessories because, how many lenses can you buy, right? There's only so many. So when you can buy little things, little attachments, I think it can be a lot of fun. Okay, what's the first thing we're going to talk about?
First thing would be camera bags.
Ooh.
Do you want to go first with that one?
I can go first, yes. So as we go through the list, you will notice that there is one brand which will kind of repeat itself quite often because I'm a massive fan of a company called Peak Design. Have you heard about them before?
Yes, I have.
Cool. Starting with the camera bag, I have their camera bag. I actually have multiple camera bags because over the years, I always thought that maybe I need different one when I go for long shooting, when I need lots of camera gear with me, or when I'm traveling and flying, and I don't want to check in my gear, so I use bigger bag. But for my daily shooting, when I go out, I use Peak Design and their everyday bag. Now, it comes in two sizes, 20 liters and 30 liters, and I prefer the smaller size, the 20 liters, and I bought it, I think, 6 or 7 years ago, and it's a little bit pricier. I think it's about 250 pounds. I don't know how many dollars would it be, but I have to say that it works just like when it was new. All the zips and all the locks and the compartment, everything works super well, and it actually has a lifetime guarantee on some parts of the backpack. Yeah, I've been really happy about it. And sadly, because I would love to buy a new bag, I just don't need it. I don't need another one. So I'm really happy with this one. How about you? What do you use?
Well, I have probably 25 camera bags. This should come as no surprise. And mine are not name brand. And maybe it's just because I'm a girl, but I like to kind of create my own bag. So I have, for example, a backpack that has sunflowers all over it. So if I go to the Sunflower Festival,
that's awesome.
I kind of cater the type of bag I use to what shoot I'm doing. And I buy camera bag inserts on Amazon and just create my own bag. So I have a little duffel bag, all different sizes. I have a messenger bag that I also got on Amazon that came with a camera bag insert. So that is more of a traditional camera bag. And just last week, because there was Amazon Prime Day, I bought this cute little pink bag that's canvas that has inserts in it that would just be good for just if I bring my small little baby lenses with me. So I have a whole bunch, different sizes, different patterns. So I just make my own. So that's something I think a guy probably could do that. If you had a backpack that you really liked, you could just simply put an insert into it.
That's such a great idea. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I have to say that I didn't expect anything less than that from you. Definitely different situation, different bag. I think that's great. That's great. So in my bag, living lots of different things, attachments and filters and wipes. And I could never go through the idea of moving them around. It would drive me crazy. But I understand that maybe for you, it works really well. So anyway, cool. Okay, so that's a camera bag. What is next on our list?
Okay, camera straps. Wait till you hear about this one. Okay, well, I don't have 25 camera straps, but I probably have at least 10. I have a sample to show you. So I buy purse straps.
Awesome.
And so here you can see, our audience can't see it, but this is just a purse strap and it has hummingbirds and flowers on it. Mm-hmm. And I buy what's called a binocular utility loop to loop through the side of the camera. And then I could just connect this with a little clip and just clip it on. So, and you could also buy what's called like a D-ring to put around the camera and add your own straps. So like a guy could probably use a guitar strap.
That's a great idea too, yeah.
If you wanted to customize your own straps, and there's a lot of different straps on Etsy and, people that make them. So again, I like to be kind of different. I don't use the camera strap that came with the camera that says Canon 60, R6 Mark II on it. And these straps, I wear it crossbody and I can, tighten it or loosen it, whatever. And it works great for me. So yeah, that's what I do. So again, I swap it out. I have leopard print and zebra print and different patterns depending what I'm wearing.
Any pink one or with sunflowers?
One with sunflowers, yeah.
You have?
I wanna find one with cow print on it. I think it's fun to use your own straps and be individual and different.
Definitely. That is a great idea. Oh my God, I already learned so much. Everybody I know just use boring backpack with boring strap,
Well, I'll tell you this. The few times I've gotten a new camera, I feel like the hardest part is putting on the camera strap that comes with the camera. I feel like an idiot and I find it so difficult, which sounds stupid, but it frustrates me to try to put on a typical camera strap, threading it through. So it's like, I need something easy. This, I could just clip it right on.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you. Some of the cameras are a little easier, but some it's almost like putting needle, like a piece of, just so difficult to put it through. And
like sewing.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Oh, it drives me crazy as well. And I know there is lots of photographers who actually don't use straps because of that, which I am also a strap guy. And I, just like you, I like to wear it over the shoulder. I like the camera to be kind of on the side so I can very easily reach it. But at the same time, I don't like when the camera is just like here in front of you. Like, some people wear it just kind of attached to the front of their body. I think it really gets in a way, and especially for like a street photography, I think that you just kind of ring all the alarms for people seeing that you are a photographer. So I think when it's on the side, it's just more natural anyway. So I really like that. And then when you're walking through, because I like to photograph churches and old houses, and when you're kind of walking around, when you have it on the side of your body over the shoulder, it's just much more safer to walk around. You can hold it and avoid things when it's attached to your front. It just seems kind of strange. So for the strap, I also use Peak Design. Again, they have this strap called Slide. So Slide is a little bit wider. That is probably a bit better for heavier cameras, maybe bigger or less, or DSLRs. Or they also have a Slide Light. And again, they come in with lifetime guarantee. So the light one is about 60 pounds. The Slide, the bigger one, is about 70 pounds. And the thing is that once you start to use the Peak Design, it's a little bit like with Apple. It's an ecosystem of attachments. So basically, the backpack has these attachments which can also work with this strap, and it kind of all clicks together. So it's super cool. And I like it because I always want to feel that, I move a lot with my camera and do all the stuff, and I always want to feel safe to leave the camera on the side, So I had the straps before where I just felt like the camera could fall anytime or get tangled in something. So this is why I really like this brand. However, you're right that there is lots of really cool straps on Etsy or even Amazon, and you can be really creative with it. And compared to the backpacks, where I think lots of people around me are not as creative, I know lots of guys who use maybe 10, 15 different straps, and they change them based on where they're going. I also work with a wedding lady photographer who actually painted her camera white, and she also had a white strap, and it looks super cool. I don't know how she managed to paint the camera white, but it looked really, really nice actually. So I think it's really good fun to customize these things. So yeah, the only thing as a suggestion for the strap is, I guess, to really try it and feel like it's safe. That's all I would say to it.
Right. I tried a wrist strap once and I didn't like it. Where the wrist strap just screws into the bottom of your tripod mount, and I didn't like doing that. So yeah, wearing it on the side takes a lot of the weight, especially for my wildlife lens. It takes a lot of weight off if you hold it on the side.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Okay. Camera bag and camera strap. So what's the next thing?
Memory cards. I wish I had a memory card I could just put right into my ear so that I could remember things. But when it comes to photography and memory cards, I don't know a lot of the technicalities of it, but I know you should get the memory card that in your camera manual, the one that's recommended for your camera. I guess there's different speeds, which hopefully you'll speak to that. But I have 2 memory cards, and you'll laugh about one of them because the way that I picked it is based on the name of the memory card. It's also...
What's the name?
I did the research. It's called Angel Bird. Have you heard of it?
Okay, never heard.
All right. I did read reviews on it, and it is a good memory card, but it's also overpriced. So maybe this is more of a designer memory card. But I love angels and I love birds. So I wanted it and I bought it. It was like $39 for a 64 gigabyte. And it's a UHS 2. And then I got my mirrorless camera over the holidays. And, I like getting a great deal. Well, one of the things that came with it for free was a 256 gig memory card. It's Lexar Gold Series, and that's also, it says UHS 3 SDXC. So because I got that for free, that's what I'm currently using, and that's what's in my new camera. But prior to that, SanDisk was a brand I was using. And when I looked at that memory card compared to the new ones, the speed or something was different. Like the numbers were lower. So I guess that was kind of a outdated technology that I was using, 8 years ago or something. I don't really know what all those numbers mean, but I bet you do. So what about you and your memory cards?
So I also use SanDisk. As you mentioned it, I use SanDisk. I always did. There are other brands there. And honestly, I think any of the bigger brands, as long as they're fast, I think they will be fine. I don't think that is like a big deal anymore of choosing between SanDisk and maybe another brand. For example, Sony has its own memory cards. They are super fast, but they are also super expensive, hundreds of pounds, for memory card, which I think is a little bit of a shame. When it comes to all the different numbers and everything, I think in general, you're just looking for fast memory card, especially if you're shooting something like wildlife or moving objects and you're shooting this kind of fast shutter speed mode, so then it's really important. But if you're just shooting landscape where all you do, maybe you're doing like bracketing with 3 pictures or 5 or 7 at a time, and it just go bam, 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 then doesn't really matter that much the speed. What I use is a SanDisk Extreme Pro, which is one of the highest grade of memory cards for SanDisk because it's one of the fastest one. And honestly, it works super well for me. I really like to use this card, and I have maybe like 15 or 20 of them. What I prefer is to use 64 gigabytes for one reason. The reason is that if the card will go wrong, something will happen to it. I will lose pictures, but I will lose small amount of them or smaller than if I use maybe 100 or 200 gigabytes cards. So what happened to me a long time ago, 5 years, I went on a trip and I had one of these big cards and I was shooting for 2-3 days. And then on 4th day, I cannot switch it on and gave me a message that the card is spoiled or something is wrong with it. And then I basically lost 4 days of shooting where like this 64 gigabytes, okay, you need to change it more often. But if something goes wrong, there is a smaller risk of smaller amount of pictures you're going to lose. So basically I set it on the 64 gigabytes and I'm really happy with it. Generally, when I go away, I go for a trip, I have 10 cards like this with me and that's more than enough. And anyway, every night when I get back to the hotel, before I do anything, before even shower or changing, I go straight to my computer, I plug the card and I download them anyway. So even if something goes wrong with the memory card, I always have a backup on the laptop. That's the kind of workflow. But I think the SanDisk is definitely a good choice. I've been using them for years. I use the Extreme Pro version, and my suggestion is to buy not 32 gigabytes, that's a bit too small, but I think the 64 is a good idea, and buy more of them because if something goes wrong, it's a smaller amount of pictures you will lose.
That's normally what I would buy, but because the free one was 256, but I don't fill them up. After every shoot, I transfer my pictures. So I've yet to ever fill a card, ever, because of the way I do it. So on like your recent workshop that you did,
Understand.
It's likely you will fill 10 cards.
Easily, yes. I mean, it's about 2 cards a day for a photography. So you wake up for sunrise. During the day, you maybe photograph some stuff as well. And then you're doing sunset again. And especially when there is, again, like we were photographing the horses or we were photographing the bulls and flamingos, like moving birds, like it could be 10, 20, 30 pictures in just one shot. Yeah, then it fills up quite easily.
My new camera has 2 memory card slots. I just use the one. And I know, could or should maybe use the second one as a backup or whatever. But because of the way I do it, I don't really feel a need for it. Does your camera have 2 slots, and do you use 2 cards?
So my camera has 2 slots. Just to say, I use Sony a7R Mark IV, and you can have it set in 2 ways. You can have it set that you have 2 cards in, and when you take a picture, it saves one same image to both of the cards. So you're basically using one card as a backup. But honestly, I'm not necessarily a National Geographic photographer. So if I lose a shot, okay, it's not necessarily the end of the world. So I use them in a way that one starts to fill up when it's full, it switches to the other one. And basically this way I have around 128 gigabytes in the camera.
Mm-hmm. Okay, our next topic is filters. Do you want to start?
Okay, so I have maybe 20, 30 filters, but not because I use all of them, but I just bought them over the years. But in overall, it's just 2 kinds. I have a 1000 ND filter, which is like super dark filter I use for long exposure. For those who may be not aware, basically you attach your camera to the tripod, you focus, then you screw on this super dark filter, was it an ND, and it tricks the camera thinking that it's dark outside and basically let the shutter speed go long, which creates this really nice effect of flat water or maybe silky smooth sky, lots of different effects you can create with it. So I really like that. And in general, in my photography, the 1000 ND is what I use the most. So let's say it's like start of golden hour and I'm at the lake and I want the water to be completely flat. That's what I would use. For some other situations when maybe it's not as dark, or maybe I just need a little darker, I use something that is called variable filter. Variable, that's the word. Thank you, Holly. So basically it's an ND filter which you attach, and similarly to the 1000 ND, it darkens the view of the camera. And the one I use is between 2 to 400 ND, so basically 2 to 4 stops. And as you can kind of turn it, and as you're turning it, the amount of ND basically go up or down, so you can darken it or brighten it. And I think it's super versatile and handy. So I only use those 2. The brand I'm using is called Gobe, G-O-B-E. And they are not the cheapest one, but they are also not the most expensive one. And I know some people mention that they like to use quite like a fancy filters because of the colors. Sometimes you can get a little bit of tint from some of these filters. Honestly, as long as you're shooting in RAW, you can do lots of adjustments in post-processing anyway. So I think this is kind of mid-quality standard choice, and they work really well for me. You can just get them on Amazon, and yeah, this way, if you scratch it, you are kind of okay to buy a new one just like that. Where when I went to photography workshop a few months ago to Paris, there was a lady which had this super expensive system, and she also had this filter on, and it was like $300, and she was so happy about it. But she was also really happy to chat to people, so she put it next to her, and next thing she knew, it was rolling straight into the Seine River. So
oh my gosh.
We were all watching the $300 just...
I'm guessing it didn't float.
Nope, no, it sank immediately. And as you can imagine, you can't recover that. So unless you really need it for your work, go for the reasonable price, because if something goes wrong with it, at least...
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
It won't be as heartbreaking. Yeah.
Exactly. And insurance is 100%. You need to always have one. Although I don't know if she can get it. Can you get an insurance for dropping it in a river? Probably not.
There's probably a clause about that. If you're an idiot, you don't get any money back.
I'm sure it's there. Yeah, definitely. So what about you and filters?
Okay. I have 2 kaleidoscope filters. Have you ever seen one of those?
Never.
Of course, I'm teaching you something new once again.
Great.
It's just a fun filter. So I have 2 different sizes, 72 millimeter and 67 millimeter, just to use on certain lenses. And you just screw it on like any filter, and it turns your image into a kaleidoscope. So it just has circular repeating patterns, and it just looks really cool and fun. And it's just, to me, if you're in a rut, it's fun just to put a filter like that on and just see what you can create. So I like those a lot. I get those out now and then. And then I have a set of macro filters that came with one of my Lens Baby lenses, and they fit on all of those 46 millimeter lenses that I have. And it's a set of a +1, +2, and +4. And I've only really just experimented with them in the last year. But basically, they say you can screw them all together or, just use one or use all three or just use two of them. But just to get you a couple, millimeters closer to your subject. I haven't quite figured out how much of a macro effect it's really having. So I've used those. And then also with one of my Lens Baby purchases, I got a free ND filter, but I have not tried it yet. I'm familiar with, those filters like you were just describing when you're doing landscapes and why you might use that. So I guess I just need to put it on and see what happens basically. And that's it for those filters. But in the past, I had UV filters, and I know when you kind of are studying photography and learning about what all the different filters are, I use those before, but then other people, it's a little controversial. Like, why would you want to put glass over your glass? Isn't the lens hood's protecting it enough? But what do you think about UV filters? Because I'm sure a lot of our listeners are probably using one. Or could be using one.
UV filter, or some people use also this polarizing filter. I think that's a common one as well. Similar idea in a way of, I think lots of people, you're right, lots of people definitely using these filters more as a protection for the lens than anything else. Then, of course, just as you mentioned, I heard also several times that why would you put another glass in front of the glass and so on. So I think this is very personal, whatever you feel comfortable doing, using. I never use either polarizer or UV filter. Again, I think those are filters which either are used for a specific technique or subject or situation you're capturing, or they are more from past when maybe the cameras were not as good, the raw files were not as detailed, and now again you can do so much in post-processing that maybe there's just no need anymore. It's like the polarizer was used to get this kind of blue sky or greener grass or remove some of the reflection, but actually you can do lots of this anyway now. So why adding these filters on the top? So I think there is no right or wrong. I don't necessarily believe that they make the picture any worse than what the lens is doing anyway, but everybody has to decide. I actually just remembered that I have one more filter that was a suggestion from my friend, and it's called mist filter, or you can be also called fog. And it's something that is used in cinematography. When you see these kind of like movies like from Victorian times, when it's all glowy and mystical at night, they're photographing like a street, beautiful street with street lights, and it has this glow around. So cinematographers, they actually use something that is called mist filter. It's completely white, see-through. But when you attach it and take a picture of this kind of scene, like a golden hour, blue hour, and there are street lights, it looks beautiful. It's like gorgeous. It really creates a really nice glow around the lights. And it adds a little bit of like a creamy mist. And you can buy them in different strengths. You can buy something that is super strong or something that is very gentle. And it's not expensive at all. So if anybody wants to try, I would really suggest to give it a go. Again, you can buy them on Amazon. The one I'm using the company is called Tide, and it really is cool. The only downfall is that once you photograph it with it, obviously you can't remove it from the photo. So once you're using filter in camera, the image will be having that filter. But definitely fun effect to try to create.
Well, if you use that, then does that mean you don't get to use the mystical tool in Luminar Neo? Has it already done it? The glow and the mystical and the mist?
In a way. So I guess the combination of the filter would be the mystical and also it's not the atmosphere. Is it atmosphere?
Like a glow or?
Where you add the fog.
Oh, yeah, atmosphere.
More like a creamy fog, So combination of those two, which is really lots of fun. So this is why I don't use it, so I can use my mystical tool in post-process. No, but I got lost a little bit in one of the villages in France, and I use it, and I have to say some of the pictures are really beautiful. So definitely something to try.
Okay.
Filters. Cool. It's kind of cool that we both use different things, so it gives us the variety of different things.
Next.
Is it time for tripod yet?
Yes, tripods. Am I allowed to say the dreaded tripod?
Depends.
I have told you in the past, I am a spaz with a tripod. Just like putting a camera strap on, like getting a tripod back in the bag is the hardest thing for me. Opening and closing a tripod is the hardest part of photography. So I don't use one often, but I do have. Now, again, how did I pick my tripod? Out of a sea of so many tripods that you could pick from, I narrowed it down by, you guessed it, name. I have a Benro Travel Angel, and I just liked that it was Travel Angel. I just thought that was really cute. Now, I did do research. I didn't just pick it out of the hat, but I liked the way it looked, and that's what I bought. Benro Travel Angel. I think it's a good tripod, but I barely use it. And when I do, one leg is sliding down the floor like I haven't locked it correctly. I think I have a picture of a setup where it looks like everything's about to tip over. Anyway, at least I have a good tripod. I think everybody should have one because you never know. And who knows, maybe later in life as we get older and like as I start to get carpal tunnel syndrome or something, I might have to use a tripod. So I have a good one. Then I have a selfie stick. It's called TONEOF. I got it on Amazon. It goes to 60 inches high, so it's like a little phone stand, and it has a wireless remote control with it. So I consider that a form of a tripod, and I bring that with me if I go to the flower fields and stuff. So I could put my cell phone like 2 inches from the ground with it, or put it inside a field of flowers and use the remote control to take pictures with it. So I have that one. And then I also have something called a Joby Gorilla Pod. Have you heard of that? It's like, so it has kind of thick plastic legs that you can bend. I think it says you could wrap it in a tree to take pictures, but I probably wouldn't try that. But I bring that more than, I don't use my regular tripod. I'd rather bring this one because it's easy to transport. It's like maybe 2 feet high, or I could put it on a tabletop easily. I've used it indoors for flower pictures. So I do like that tripod. And then you won't believe this, but I just bought a new lens yesterday. and to get the best price, because all the prices of these lenses are rising now, I had to feel like I got some kind of a deal. You could buy the lens at full price, or you could buy the lens with a tripod and get it for $50 less. So I spent less to get more items. So now I'm going to be the proud owner of a brand new tripod called Alta Pro, ALTA. And I think it's like a $200 tripod, but they're selling it with, I got the Canon 200 to 800 millimeter wildlife lens. And it claims that this tripod can support that lens. So whether that means it's good or not, I don't know, but they're basically giving it to me for free and giving me $50 off the lens. So I couldn't resist that deal. So maybe I'll either sell that tripod or just, I don't know, keep it. I'm not sure. So I will own that tripod come tomorrow when it arrives. How about you and your tripod situation?
So sometimes my office or studio becomes like this, how would you say it, cemetery of tripods, because I did have owned number of tripods. I tried many different things. Some were terrible, some were better, some were heavy. And I really settled now on, again, Peak Design one. Peak Design has a travel tripod, which comes in aluminum and also this fancy metal, which I will not remember the name now, but
carbon.
That's it, a carbon tripod. I have the aluminum version because honestly, it's so small anyway that it's perfectly fine to carry around. And I absolutely love it. I know there are people out there who are not happy with it because it cannot kind of turn in a certain way or whatsoever. But for me, every gear, every accessory, everything has to work in a way that I can use it right away. I hate when I have to spend 10, 15 minutes undoing things. And this is, for example, with my drone. I used to have like a big drone, Mavic Pro, whatever. But it takes so long to undo it, to be able to fly, that you just choose not to. And now I have a little Mavic Pro 4, which is like a little thing which you just kind of unfold, like, it kind of fits into your pocket. And I use it like 10, 15, 20 times more than the old one, even though the old one was much better for footage and quality. But you never use it because you just kind of like, oh, I can't be bothered. So same with the tripods. I think if it's a tripod which takes too long to use, you just end up not using it. So this is why I really love this Peak Design. Which brings us to accessories or extras. So what do we have next?
Yes, extras. So I have a lot of extras.
Cool.
Do you want me to go first?
Go.
Okay. Because I switched from a DSLR to mirrorless, I had to get the Canon mount adapter so that I could use all of my other lenses with the mirrorless. So I have that as an important accessory. Obviously, extra batteries for the camera. I have lots of different drawstring bags, microfiber bags to put my lenses in, and cleaning cloths and cleaning gadgets. I have a sensor cleaning kit. I've cleaned my own sensor on my old camera. The new one's so new I don't need to clean it yet, but I know you feel in one of your videos you said you think getting it done by a professional is better, so I'll think that through before I clean my new camera sensor. I have something called, have you heard of the Hoodman Loop magnifier? Okay. I learned about this at a workshop. If you ever have trouble like reviewing your images on the back of your camera, either because you're going blind or it's just maybe too bright outside, it's this little like eyepiece that you put over the back of the camera. And not only does it block all the light out, but it magnifies it so you can see your picture up close to see if it's sharp. I got that after a workshop. I got the cheaper version of it, but I either forget to bring it with me or I haven't used it yet. But I have a lot of accessories I don't use.
I was gonna ask how it works.
But it's cool. You might like it for landscape photography. I'll send you a link to it.
Great.
And so another thing I don't use, I have an umbrella and a light stand because when I was trying to learn how to do like portraits. So it's just, I don't know if I should just sell that stuff. And then I have a lot of camera themed apparel, jewelry. I have earrings, necklace, bracelets. I have hats and clothing with cameras on it. Now, would a man have all that? No, but you might have a little beanie hat that says Lens Baby or Peak Design on it, right? And then wait till you see this. Our viewers can't see this, but I'll hold one up for you. Now, your hot shoe cover on your camera where you put your flash. I have these little figurines that you can put in the hot shoe.
That's awesome.
It has, this one I'm holding up is a rabbit. And I have, when I do my bird photography, I have a little bird on the top of my camera. Jacob is laughing at me right now. And then look, I have a strawberry. I have a lemon. And so there's a bunch of fun ones like that. So to me, that makes photography more fun. I'll put one of those on my hot shoe cover. And then lastly, as we talked about in my Lens Baby episode, I have all of those Omni wands and crystals that I would consider those a type of filter. All those little jewels that I put in front of my camera that comes with the Lens Baby system. So those are all of my extras that I could think of right now. What about you? Do you have any exciting extras?
Wow. Well, nowhere near to what you just talked about. I think I also need a strawberry shoe attachment. Where did you get it? I never seen such a thing.
I got that on Amazon. I'll send you the link. In fact, if you want, we could put the link in the podcast.
I think we have to do that. That is awesome. Oh my God, my stuff will be so boring. So I think Apple Tag is one thing, these little silver things you can attach to things. So I have it attached. I have one inside of my camera bag. I have one attached to my camera and one attached to my tripod. And people always laugh saying, well, I mean, if somebody steals it, what are you going to do? And I keep saying it's not necessarily for me if somebody steals it. It's just for me knowing that, for example, last time I was driving away and I get the notification on my phone that I'm getting far away from my camera, but I was going for photo shoot. So basically I forgot the camera home for that reason. It's kind of cool. And with the bag, it's the same thing, So I use it more for just being able to say where it is. And I think that can be really handy. The thing was, I don't know, $20 or something. And then you have it connected. Mm-hmm. It also beeps when you can't find it. And I think it's really handy. I would never check in my photography gear, but some people do. So then they can kind of see where your kit is and so on. So that is, I think, definitely something I would suggest to get for everyone. Apple Tag on a camera. It's really small and just makes you aware where you have stuff. What else do I have? Nothing just so exciting as you. I have this little also hot shoe attachment, which basically works as a level. So there is just simple bubble in it and you use it to make sure that everything is straight. I used it a lot in my interior design days, especially because my last camera before the Nikon didn't have a level built in. So now this one has, so I don't need it. But before you just kind of needed it. And again, if you're shooting really wide as well, even little tilt can really make stuff more difficult for you. So I use that. I have lots of different covers. Another thing is this kind of silica. I think it's from Silica. It's these little pouches which you put somewhere when you want to keep things dry or keep the humidity away. And it's these little, they all look like a plastic balls, but they are not, I think it's a Silica or some kind of thing which keeps your bag dry. So I have 3 or 4 of them inside of my bag. And I mean, if it rains inside, it will not help. But let's say I'm outside and it's kind of humid, or maybe it's even rainy and I take 2 shots and I put the camera back. It just keeps the humidity away. I think it's a sensible thing to have. Yeah. Few lens cloths. I also use wipes. I really like the brand from Zeiss, Z-E-I-S-S. It's a lens wipe, which is, you can use it for glasses and everything, but it's super cool because you wipe the lens and it dry itself immediately. So some of the wipes, they make the lens kind of wet and then you need to use something to dry it. This one has some kind of chemical inside which just dries itself. And I'd buy usually boxes of 500. It lasts for a year or two or even longer. And I think that's a really cool investment. And that's about it, Holly.
All right.
Nothing,
that was good.
Nothing fun. Yeah, that was great. Okay, so folks, thank you very much for joining us today. It was a lots of fun. I think that I definitely discovered some accessories I didn't know they even exist. Never mind that you can buy them. And I learned lots of new stuff. So Holly, thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Great. And we will be back again next week. So keep an eye on our YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, all these platforms where you can follow us on our photography adventures. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Holly, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Jacob.
Have a great weekend.
And that's a wrap. Now, there's only 3 things left to do. Subscribe to this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Visit our website at cleverphotographer.com/LumiCast to see what we have in store next. And stay creative and keep editing your photos no matter what anyone says.